I'm Kaylee, and these are the books that I read in February. I'm still pretty behind on all the reading that I want to do. I just can't seem to catch up. I did some pretty good reading in February, but somehow I just can't seem to get the reading momentum that I want to have. I think I'm too hard on myself. I'm just way too critical on myself, and I just need to be happy with the reading that I'm doing and just enjoy it and stop trying to be like, read more and do more and just chill, okay? Just stop trying to do so much and just enjoy what you are already doing. I ended up reading 7 books in February, and I read 5 picture books or activity books. So not too shabby, not too bad. Let's dive in with those. I read another classic from L. Frank Baum's Aunt Jane's Nieces series. This is the 8th book in the series, Aunt Jane's Nieces on the Ranch. I kind of don't want to give spoilers this far along in the series, so I'm just going to say that one of the girls, I'm not going to tell you which niece, but one of them is married and is living with her husband on a ranch in California, and they have a beautiful new baby girl. So the other nieces, and of course Uncle John, all travel out to California to visit the new baby. However, when baby Jane goes missing, the whole house is in an uproar. They don't know if she has been kidnapped or if she has just been lost. There's also a really cool mystery surrounding the old ranch house. The previous owner was kind of a mysterious guy. He was a miser who was rumored to have hidden treasure in the house somewhere. So it was really fun to see our characters kind of playing detective to figure out the mystery of the missing baby and also the mystery of this possible treasure that could be hidden someplace. However, there is a character in this story that is racist against Hispanics. There are several really distasteful and ignorant comments. And whenever I encounter something like this in a classic book, I just try to remember that this is a slice of history and it's an unfortunate part of our history all over the world. This is a thing that happens and it is terrible and it is wrong. But I try to look at it as just, we can be grateful that our history has grown out of such backward ideas. It was upsetting to read about it though in this story. It wasn't really clear whether the author themselves was racist against Hispanics or whether he was just kind of using this character to show this is how some people think of Hispanics. I'm just really not sure, but I was glad when in the end of the story, the Hispanic characters really proved their worth and they proved those, racist comments to be wrong. And the character who had been making those racist comments against them actually kind of started to realize how wrong he was and to appreciate the Hispanic characters and to recognize their value and their worth. So it was kind of like there was a little bit of an arc there with this racist character kind of realizing that they are wrong. So I was really glad that that kind of was resolved by the end. The story has really good pacing and it kept my attention. The characters are so interesting, and it was especially lovely to see one of the nieces as a married woman with a baby. She's a mother now, and it's just such a different role for her to play. Her character has grown so much through the series, and so it was lovely to see this whole new chapter of her life. I just love the Aunt Jane's Nieces series. I really love these characters. However, because of those racist portions, even though it was pretty much resolved at the end, it still just didn't sit right with me, and so I ended up giving this only 3 stars, whereas normally it probably would have been a 4-star book for me. I listened to a couple of Roald Dahl books on audiobook. I found some audiobook recordings just on YouTube and listened to those and enjoyed it so much. I'm finding that more and more I like to go back and revisit old favorites that I've read many, many times, but this time read it as an audiobook. It's just such a different way to approach the story, and I find it really, really enjoyable. So I read Matilda again, my very favorite out of all Roald Dahl's books, because Matilda is amazing. My favorite scenes, of course, are when Matilda just reads entire sections of the library. I really love love Dahl's writing style. He writes with such vivid words. He has such outrageous plot lines and really terrific villains. Rereading through Matilda this time, I really started to realize more and more how much Miss Honey, the character of Miss Honey, I think has really shaped my life. Miss Honey is such a sweet person and her story is so tragic, and yet it just made her even more of a compassionate and sensitive and kind person. She's absolutely astonishing and strong, and I think Miss Honey really is one of the reasons why I wanted to become a teacher. She's such a great teacher. All of her students just love her so much, and I think when I was a kid reading this, I thought, ooh, I want to grow up and be a teacher like Miss Honey. And of course, Matilda is adorable and smart and precocious. But you know, it's amazing that despite her intelligence, she's also just really humble and genuine. She's not trying to show off or anything. I just love her so much. Every time I reread this, which is like, this is my 11th or 12th time reading this, I always give it 5 stars. I also reread James and the Giant Peach, this time on audiobook as well. Now, I think this is actually only my 2nd time reading James and the Giant Peach. This is not one of my super favorites from Roald Dahl, mainly because the plot can be a little bit chaotic and I like a little more of a structured plot. James lives with his 2 horrible old aunts, wishing that he could get away, and when he is given a bag of magic, he accidentally drops it next to a peach tree, and the tree sucks up all of the magic and creates a giant peach, and off James goes on his new adventure. Reading this book the 2nd time now, I really enjoyed it so much more than the 1st time. I think I was just more prepared for, okay, the plot is just gonna be chaos and it's fine. It's whimsical and it's silly and it doesn't have to tell a completely coherent story because it's about the magic. I was more enchanted by the whimsy and less concerned with the plot structure this time around. James is so resourceful and smart. I really love the way that the other characters look to him as their leader and they expect him to find a solution when there's a crisis. He's so sweet and kind, and no wonder all of the other characters just love and respect him. This book really is a delight. I love how wild and imaginative it is. This book just proves that anything can happen in a Dahl book. I gave this 4 stars. All the rest of the books in this video are books that I received from a publisher in exchange for a free and honest review. I read Shadow of the Spider, A Quest to Save a Queen. This is about a set of triplets that are separated as babies to protect them from danger that lurks around their family. 2 of them are sent to our world, the modern world, and they live normal lives until they are teenagers, when they are magically transported back to the land of their birth, a fantasy world where people have magical abilities and there are elves and dwarves populating the land. A mysterious wizard launches them on a quest to save their mother, and they meet the other triplet. The main plot of this book looks like it could be pretty good, but I ended up DNFing this book at page 76. The writing just got on my nerves so bad, I couldn't continue. Multiple POVs is already one of my pet peeves, but this book took head hopping to a whole nother level. Sometimes there are actually multiple points of view in one paragraph, and I was just like, I don't even know whose head I'm in right now. I can't deal with this. And the story introduces way too many characters too quickly. So the reader doesn't really have a chance to emotionally connect to any one person. And we bounce around between characters' points of view so often that the reader doesn't get a chance to identify with any of them. The characters are sort of flat. The world building is kind of lackluster. The writing is not terrible, but it's not great either. The plot is slow to get started. I just lost interest really quickly, but then I forced myself to read through at least 13 chapters up to page 76, just so that I could say that I gave it a chance. I feel like the ideas in the plot could be good, but it just needs a good editor. So I DNF'd it and I gave it 2 stars. I also read The Patron Thief of Bread. Duck has always lived on the streets with a gang of urchins who call themselves the Crowns. They pick pockets and they steal food to stay alive. And their leader, Nat, comes up with an idea for one of them to masquerade as a baker's apprentice and work in the bakery, and then they can steal food and coins and slip them out the door to the other urchins. Duck is the one who is chosen to masquerade as the baker's apprentice, but the longer she works at the bakery, the more she begins to settle in to her new life. The baker lady is really kind to her, and Duck's loyalties are divided. Will she choose the baker, who loves her like a mother would, or will she choose her street urchin orphan family? I really loved Duck's character. She has a very complex personality, especially because she has all sorts of emotional issues and trust issues from growing up on the street. She's not used to being loved, and so she pushes people away. She's not used to being safe, so she's always on edge. And it was so heartbreaking and beautiful to see how she finally begins to open up and heal and accept love. It was so wonderful. The writing style is very emotional. It really tugs at your heartstrings. I just love the dialogue, and there's some really sweet and funny scenes. And it's set in the Middle Ages, kind of, I think. So that was just a really interesting setting. The world building was really cool. The plot is a little slow. I feel like the book could have been condensed down a little bit more. But the character depth for all the characters is so wonderful that it still kept my interest. It was just so amazing to see the way the relationships between these characters just keeps evolving and changing. So there is a second POV in separate chapters from a gargoyle. So most of the book is told from Duck's perspective, and then there'll be like a separate little extra chapter from a gargoyle's perspective. I hated those chapters. All he does is whine and complain the whole time that his cathedral was never finished. And so like the building is crumbling. And I kept waiting to find out, okay, where does the gargoyle's story intersect with Duck's story? And no spoilers, but when it did intersect, it was just unbelievably stupid. I didn't like it at all. The whole gargoyle stuff just did not seem to fit with the rest of the story. I think the whole book would be better if they just cut out the gargoyle part. Overall, I enjoyed most of the story except for the gargoyle. I really, really loved the characters, and I gave this 3 stars. If it hadn't been for the gargoyle, this would have been a 4-star book. I read the manga classic Midsummer Night's Dream. This is the modern English edition. But there is also one that has the full Shakespearean text without anything edited. I feel like this modern English edition is just the perfect way to introduce people who are new to Shakespeare, but who might feel intimidated by the Elizabethan language. In this one, the text is modernized, but it captures all of that flavor of the original play. I'm so impressed with the way that the text was edited with integrity, with thoughtfulness, without losing the style of that original text. And of course, the beautiful artwork just brings this play to life. This is my second favorite Shakespearean play. My favorite is Much Ado About Nothing, and then this one is my second favorite. So I was so excited to see my favorite play, just reimagined into this beautiful, gorgeous art. I really love the designs for each character. Puck is just mischievous. Oberon is scheming and laughing at everyone. And of course, Bottom is a bumbling fool. Their clothing, their facial expressions, their body language, it just all comes together to paint this beautiful picture. It was such a delight to visit this favorite Shakespearean play in manga form. I ended up giving this 5 stars. And I read another graphic novel, Pixels of You. Indira is not thrilled when she has to team up with an android to put together an art show. But she quickly learns that Fawn is more than just an android. They learn to work together and explore their artistic sides through photography. And eventually, the 2 girls discover that friendship is possible no matter if you are human or cyborg or android. And then towards the end of the book, they begin to have romantic feelings for each other as well. I liked this story pretty well. It's not amazing, but it was interesting to explore this world of cyborgs and androids and how society views them. The world building was really great. It was so cool to see how technology is used in different ways in this futuristic world. But the plot was just okay. I didn't really connect with either of the characters. I liked the characters fine, but nothing about them really grabbed my attention or made me care about them in some meaningful way. And I did not like that Indira and Fawn became romantically involved at the end. That lesbian romance just felt forced. I think they would have been much better just as friends. The plot was really good when it was just them learning to be friends and learning to accept each other and everything. And then it was like, oh, wait, what? there's romance now. Where did this come from? I did like the artwork in this book. It's colorful and moody with a artistic flair, you know. I ended up giving this 3 stars. It's fine, but it's not the best. And the picture books that I read were The Lonely Cloud and The Magic House, Christmas Here I Come, I Can Be Creative Like Leonardo da Vinci, and Paint by Sticker Halloween. I had actually ordered that Paint by Sticker book, you know, back in October from the publisher, but COVID and things are really backed up and, you know, things don't come in the mail when they're supposed to. So I finally got my Halloween book in February. That's okay. I'll just save it for next Halloween. If you want some fun paint by sticker activities for Halloween, order it now, and then you'll have it in time for October. Please leave me a comment and let me know what are some of your favorite books that you read this past month. Or leave me a comment and let me know what is a book that you DNF'd, like you gave it a try and it just was not for you. And then I will know not to read that book. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and remember the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.